Okay, hi everyone. My name is Shiani Izumida, and I'm a software engineer of RAKSUL. And my main work is sometime coding, sometime architect, sometime management, and so I'm do everything to develop high impact product and the company. And yeah, so my hobby is also playing piano, and I'm working in Ho Chi Minh City about 2 or 3 years. And so last year, I also joined the Rails Girls Saigon event. Yeah, okay. So let me introduce our company RAKSUL a bit. So our company's main service is printing e-commerce service. So it is kind of the sharing economy service. We are providing the e-commerce website, and so but we don't have the printing machine, warehouse, truck. But we have a many partner. So we are providing that users order to partners company. Hmm. So our company's technical stack is Ruby on Rails and Ruby, backend part, and front-end part is Vue.js, and the infrastructure is AWS. Something, the mic's strange. Okay.
The mic's for me?
It's okay?
Okay.
Nothing?
Well, actually, because there is a small mic and
Mm-hmm.
it is connected to OBS, which is a streaming.
Okay, so I will use this.
All right, thank you.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you can just, like take it out and put it on the ear, and then that's gonna be easier.
Okay, got it. Okay, so why we are using Rails is, yeah, so the previous presentation also talk about that's the advantage, many advantage. So one of the reason is we are B2B e-commerce website, so we don't need so much high latency service. So the productivity is really important. So we are using Rails. And in Japan, so we work with many Rubyists. So that as a Rails template also and API client, we have many knowledge about Ruby on Rails. Of course, we are also using some other language for our company's service, depending on the station. For example, Golang, Python, or PHP. Something. Okay. Okay, so our company service started in 2013, and that moment the PHP was the main stack. But after a few years passed, the service became very big and huge. So we started to review the project 2017. At that moment, so our main stack became Ruby on Rails, and so we separated one monolithic service to the small application and repositories. Yeah, and not only rebuild the project, we also developing the new product. So these two products is developed by the Vietnamese team members. So today's topic is this part. So last year we developed and released the novelty service. Yeah. So I will talk about the product system architecture and about the first launching and enhancing phase. Enhancing phase is now, so after launching. So the architecture is not perfect, so we are arranging now. So though this is a Saigon Ruby meetup, but so today not so many Ruby coding Rails application development story. Okay, so this is a service. So it's a kind of e-commerce website. So you can choose category, t-shirts, for example, and choose the product. And yeah, so it's a product page. And click here and design edit. You can edit design on our website. For example, of course, you can update the image and convert image. Yeah, so we can create like that image and confirm the preview and put into cart. Yeah, so and confirm the payment and so on. Okay, so the basically it's a very simple e-commerce website. So the Ruby on Rails is so we are really easy to develop on Ruby on Rails, but only the design processing part was really difficult because there is no Ruby familiar library to develop the edit form. So that we adapted so like this. So Fabric.js and Node Canvas, they are the JavaScript library and well maintained. Okay, so let me explain a bit. So what is Node Canvas and Kylo, no, Node Canvas and Fabric JS is, so the second line, it's very difficult to, okay. So maybe here, and if you want to input a text word, so specify the left and top, so like the position, and of course not only text, so you can specify the image data as well, and create PNG or JPEG or PDF image. Okay, so the current architecture I will share about first. So we are using the Vue.js on Rails, so backend and front-end side. And so Rails server side called a sidekick worker as an asynchronous process with the other AWS instance. So another worker is an instance to generate design. So we are separate that generating design part and web application part are separating. And so the return image to client browser with polling. So polling is the, so front end part is calling the API. So many times, every few seconds or something. And after the sidekick process created the image, that's the API return the image data. Okay, but so to reach that architecture, so we tried some kind of architecture and considered many things. So I will share about some story about that. So from 1 to 5, that is the order. So we ordered to, we tried to and consider to that architecture. Okay, so first one, the important thing is we are the product company, so we want to release the product as soon as possible for the product market fitting phase. So this was the easiest way and the fastest way to call the node process from Rails server very simply. But the problem was the node modules dependency occurred. So developers machine, so we are using Mac OS and Ubuntu and so on. And the QA server is also different kind of OS version. So it takes so much time to set up. So we decided to use, so next idea is use Docker. And so with Docker, we can avoid dependency of that problem. And the first idea is we are called Docker process on the same instance. But also problem, for example, so when we developed this application, it was 2019, beginning of 2019. At that moment, Docker could work only with root permission on server. So now it's possible to work with rootless server. But so at that moment, it was impossible. So we have to avoid that way because of the security reason. So we also consider about AWS Lambda and API gateway. So like this architecture. So that Rails server is API, external API. So Lambda function executes it's kind of asynchronous process with the node process, a node script. But so this is the kind of modern architecture and the easy service operation with serverless because of serverless. And also it may possible to reduce cost because the Lambda charge based on number of requests of the function and duration. But so our service, the problem was, so we need to font. So, Japanese word, many kind of word, hiragana, katakana, Chinese character, and alphabet also. And it's only 7 or 8 example, but not only that font type, so many font types. So it was about few gigabytes we needed. So we couldn't use Lambda. Okay, so the next action is, so we built the ECS, the other instance, originally. So party design process into container and API, but so the API response is binary image data. So why that binary image data we need to return was we use Rails and to manage the design image uploading. So active storage is really powerful library and mechanism. But so as long as we are using active storage, it's really difficult to use from the other application. For example, Node application to connect the same database and S3 server, it's really difficult. Yeah, so because active storage, the handle that ID and the management system. But so that's the reason. So we need to return the binary image. But so on this architecture, we released this service on April 2019 because that was we already confirmed that this architecture could work only for few limited number of customers. Yeah. So actually we had some problem. First, it's really slow because response is the binary image, really huge binary image. And yeah, so 503 error sometime occurred. So due to the Node.js is a single thread API, so the sometime process timeout stacked, so multiple order in short time, for example. And the worst situation was the ECS is AWS Container Service is checking each container's status, but so that is a health check. But so the many requests are stacking, health check failed because that the instance doesn't work. So that container suddenly stopped and restart. So it took about 1 minute to restart. So it was the terrible instance sometime occurred. And so accepted only 2 megabyte size image for users uploading because of that very slow and like that. Yeah, so that's the finally we reached that architecture. So the point is that on ECS server and application server, both of the servers, we use the Rails and Sidekick. And so about the Sidekick worker, the also read and write the S3 and the AWS and database. So from both of the instance. So is this ideal architecture? I'm not sure about it. So there is a process on Sidekick Worker is currently I'm thinking to approach like this right side because the Node.js API call worker and so because of the reason, the active storage reason, and so we want to separate the Rails because it takes, yeah, the right one is more the simpler, right? The only Node.js process. Yeah, but I'm not sure how to approach it. So active storage dependence is a bit hard to work with some kind of the instance and application. Yeah, so we are still thinking about it, but currently our novelty service is working well. So that left side, the architecture is the current station. So if you're any experience or yeah, good at around like that's architecture, so please let's talk about later. Okay, so this is almost my presentation is finished. So at last, so I will share about our company's development team a bit. So aside from the usual development, so we have one event, Hack Week. So every year, about 1 week hackathon event. So during that time, I stopped regular working and work with any team members with any themes. For example, left the photo is the only Vietnamese teams. The middle one is Vietnam and Japanese teams mix, and right one is Japanese teams. So during that time, so also we approach some novelty projects. So for example, 3D preview. So currently we are providing 2D preview. So that the 3D, for example, markup is the kind of circle, and it's really hard to understand only 2D preview. So that's one of the team that the approach about like that. And also we always try to GraphQL about new technology and so on. And other teams, the theme is really variable. For example, virtual office application or automate design generate for printing from web page and so on. So 21 team joined that event. And so this is the slide. Also, one of how quick teams created web page. So RAKSUL Vietnam, our company, actually established the last May. So only 5 or 6 months we are working. Then, there was no corporate side, a hiring site. So one of the team created this website. So what I want to say is we also hiring any position, front end, back end, and product manager. So if you are interested in our company, so let's communicate later. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, so do you have any question? Ah, it's the definition of monolithic and microservices is complicating that. So usually, okay, let me explain. Um, okay. For example, so currently we are separating many repository. For example, payment system is used by Novelty and, for example, direct mail or any other kind of service with API. And for example, design, it's also it's different from Novelty service, but it's also providing other service to as an API. So it's kind of microservice, right? I mean, yes, we are using Rails template. Yeah. So Rails template. So we are not only that, for example, Robocop and Circle CI development deployment, and what else? So like that part are included. Mm. That's also a good question. Um, so actually, the main technical stack was PHP and jQuery. But so that monolithic application is still working. Some of the part is still working. And so from the small part, we started to separating to the new service. That's the reason. So we couldn't use the Angular like that really strict the framework. But Vue.js is really so easy to adapt for small part one by one. That's the reason the front end. The, mm. So sorry, I'm not sure very much about React part, but as long as my understanding, so that Vue.js is more the easier to adapting. I think it's React also possible. It's also a very good question. So our service is mainly currently the PC browser, but so this one, Laku design, is where is that? So 2 years ago, that was almost first application for supporting the smartphone. It's smartphone browser, but still smartphone browser. So now we are confirming the smartphone user, the market with our service. After confirming that timing, we also may start build the smartphone application. Mm. Excuse me, native or what? And so React Native is a language, right? Okay. That the native mean. I understand. Yeah, so if we start, because so we have no smartphone application yet, native application yet. Maybe when we start the plan to develop the smartphone application, at that moment, maybe we start to think about architecture. That moment. So currently, we don't think about the so smartphone yeah, interface and application. So our company actually that this novelty 2 years ago is almost first timing to use the container ECS container. At that moment, the Fargate also we could use the Fargate. So our company don't the much experience to compare to Fargate or the EC2's the instance very much. But yeah, so also I'm not sure very much about yeah so difference. But currently, so all the ECS container work on the Fargate. Mm.
Actually, you have a question from one of the streamer. Have you considered to switch from pooling mechanism to push WebSocket?
Currently not because that's the so design image generating the only that part is that the polling process are required. If we future more and more interface required like that polling, so at that moment we will consider to introduce WebSocket and like that. Mhm. Not now. So we want to introduce it, but currently not very much because one of the reason is so our website the UI don't change doesn't change very much. Yes, that is the biggest reason. So that's the current main test is the, for example, server side is R spec, request spec, like that levels test. And when we release the bigger development, at that moment we ask the tester team only that, so that there is no automation kind of E2E test yet.
Alright, seems that's it. All right. Well, so thank you very much, everyone, for your participation, especially Tan and Xian for your very passionate presentations. Did you guys enjoy today? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, cool. Just a reminder that we would have the meetup once every 2 months. So the next one would be the start of December, and hopefully we would be able to see you guys again. Well, right now we still have AC and we're still open. So if you guys want to hang out a little bit, chat a little bit more, and grab some food and drinks, feel free to do that. Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks. Thanks. See ya.